I'm excited to announce our afternoon keynote session, Thriving Big by Starting Small Now, which is sponsored by BetterUp. Dr. Christine Carter and Eugene Whitlock will talk about how you can make the most of your Now conference experience to thrive. They will share stories and strategies to help you identify small actions that you can take immediately to build habits that support your success. Dr. Christine Carter is the VP of Learning Experience Design at BetterUp. Dr. Carter is an author, speaker, and coach dedicated to redesigning the way we work so that we can lead our most joyful, productive, and fulfilling lives. As a sociologist, she is sought to inspire large-scale systemic change in our most common and influential social structures, corporations, families, and schools. For many years, Dr. Carter was the executive director of UC Berkeley's Greater Good Science Center, where she remains a sociologist and a senior fellow. Dr. Carter is also a Cal alum, having earned both her MA and PhD in sociology. We're so excited to welcome you back to Cal, Dr. Carter, and have you involved in this way. So today's conversation will be moderated by Eugene Whitlock, our UC Berkeley's Associate Vice Chancellor and Chief People and Culture Officer. Eugene leads a 75-person human resources department, including talent acquisition, people and organization development, employee and labor relations, total rewards, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and human resources information systems. So Eugene also serves on the governing board of American Research University's Human Resources Institute and the Human Resources Leadership Council for the University of California. During his time at UC Berkeley, Eugene has emphasized the creation of a workplace where everyone can be themselves and feel like they belong. So with that, warm welcome to you, Dr. Carter, Eugene, welcome. And Eugene, I'm gonna turn it over to you to begin this conversation.
Thank you very much, Ying, and greetings. Good afternoon to everyone out there hanging in late afternoon. Hopefully you got your groove on with Ezra, so you're energized. And welcome, Christine. I've had the pleasure of seeing Christine talk and a couple other times and talk to her. And so, she told us that she wanted to talk about starting small. And Christine, you're not a start small kind of person. I would have said you're more like go big or go home. So what's going on here?
Yeah, you are right. I am definitely a go big or go home kind of a gal, although I am also a behavioral scientist. And so I understand how that can work against me. So I'm excited to talk today a little bit about how so. I think a lot of people there at Cal are like me, and they really like to set very ambitious goals. And I actually hate starting small. Right? We're going to talk about starting small today a little bit. I definitely tend towards overachieving and running myself a little ragged with my big, juicy, audacious goals. I will tell you a true story of when the coronavirus hit. It became like how big a goal could I set for myself during the shutdown. And I originally kind of embraced this idea that I would get back into running. And when I was young, in my early 20s, I'm 50 now, I would run marathons. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna get back into running marathons. I spent probably 2 solid weeks planning out making the massive training plan and picking the marathon, not knowing the pandemic was going to last as long. I mean, even if this plan had panned out for me, it's kind of hilarious to me now thinking I was going to be traveling in 16 weeks. In any case, all that planning and preparation led only to a spectacular failure to run. for me. I skipped my training runs despite feeling like I understood the importance of exercise. The importance of it had never been more bracingly clear. I knew that it was going to help me get through the shutdown and all the other health and psychological reasons to do it. So why did I skip running despite really having great plans and wanting to do this? And knowing all the good reasons for it. The truth is that our ability to follow through on our best intentions is to get into any sort of new habit that we intend to change our behavior in any way, doesn't actually depend on the reasons that we might do it or the depth of our convictions that we should do so. It just doesn't depend on our understanding of the benefits of a particular behavior or even on the strength of our willpower. A lot of times we think it's the people with the strongest willpower that are good at this. It really depends on our willingness to be bad at our desired behavior. And I hate being bad at stuff. You're right. I'm a go big or go home kind of a gal. I like being good at things. And I never really got going running because I wasn't willing to be bad at it.
So let me see if I have this straight. Start small, be bad, and forget all about willpower. And that's the key to success. I missed something in there. Can you walk me through this more slowly?
Yeah, yes, I can. So here's why we need to be willing to be bad. Being good requires that our effort and our motivation be in proportion to one another. And that is, the harder something is for us to do, the more motivation we need to do that thing. You know, you might have noticed, but motivation isn't always something that we can muster on command. Whether we like it or not, our motivation comes and our motivation goes. We can be really, really motivated to do something one day and then be tired and stressed the next day, or just less interested in it. And so that effort and motivation match gets off a little bit, you know. And so when our motivation wanes, plenty of research shows that human beings tend to follow the law of least effort and do the easiest thing, right? We are, even the overachievers here among us are still subject to that. And, you know, the thing is that even small changes can be really hard. New behaviors tend to require a lot of effort because change is hard, you know. So change can require a lot of motivation when it's hard, which we actually can't count on. So this is why we often don't do the things that we really do intend to do. I'm sure all of you at this conference today are taking away things that you really intend to do. So to really get back into running, I needed to let myself be kind of half-assed about it. You know, I needed to stop trying to be an actual 50-year-old athlete. I did actually start exercising again during the pandemic by only running for 1 minute at a time. So I would get up in the morning, brush my teeth, put my running clothes on, and then all I had to do was run out the front gate and to the corner of our street and back. And that's like how small it was, right? So of course I did end up doing more than that, but it's like you're really just trying to establish the neural pathways of like getting into the new habit. And even when I was tired, even when I was stressed, even when I had a lot going on, I could run for 1 minute. I could get myself out the door. And that by really starting that initiating that habit, I did much better than when I had a like really amazing plan to run a marathon in New York. You know, these days I'm actually back at the gym where I still do run, but I don't I run for like 20 minutes. You know, there is not even a half marathon that is in my future. But I am happy doing what I'm doing, and it's sort of the level of effort now matches the level of motivation, because the big part of that effort is really just in the habit of getting out the door. So maybe you relate, yeah, Eugene, maybe you've also failed in one of your attempts to change yourself for the better. I don't know. Certainly there are lots of people out there who are watching who have.
So, you make a couple of interesting comments about willpower. So my wife and I, we challenge each other to achieve all sorts of wonderful things on a regular basis. And we all end up having this conversation about being disciplined and who has more willpower. And then when one of us breaks, I ate the candy first or whatever it is, we tend to feel disappointed in ourselves, like we let ourselves down. And then you look across the street or wherever it is, look, that person is still jogging. I'm only been 20 minutes. And we find ourselves comparing ourselves to others and feeling like somehow we don't measure up. How do you help us address that? Are we failures?
No, you're not failures. This is the thing that I think keeps us from growth so often, right? Is the fear of failure, or it's having failed in the past, right? It keeps us from starting new things. We're ambitious people. And so the thing that I want everyone to understand is that, first of all, it's human to need motivation to, keep going and to do things that take effort. Obviously, this is the way it works. And we're not computers, we're mammals. And we need a certain amount of motivation to do things. There's no skirting that, and that's fine, right? Like, we need to accept our that's a human limitation, and of course just a wonderful thing. Like, motivation, when it comes, is a beautiful beautiful thing. I think that the key thing is that you're not a failure if you start small. You're just skillful at building a new habit. This is the way it works. The human brain does not like to change, right? It resists it. It's just, and that it can be an individual thing. Some people are more resistant to change than others. There is a personality component to it. But for the most part, every human brain is designed to find relief in habit and in routine, and to resist change of habit and routine. And so when we're asking ourselves to get into a new habit, we're actually probably undermining some other habit. Anyway, human brains don't like change. It just takes a lot of effort. And so the most skillful way to get into a new habit is to sort of outsmart your own brain by doing it so in such small steps that it doesn't resist. It doesn't see it as a big change.
So, those of us who are here in the conference, and I include myself among those, we all have something that we want to do now, and particularly because the theme of this conference is next opportunity at work, I'm thinking about there's something we probably want to do in some aspect of our lives, particularly work related, to improve. Today we've been talking about upskilling our communication and collaboration, reskilling, thriving, well-being. So how do you recommend we get started? You said start small, but give us some ideas of what that might look like for us.
Yeah. So it's starting small. You can start all of these things right now. It's starting small. The other requirement is that you don't try and be so good at it, right? It's this idea of like, you're actually going to be kind of bad at it at first because you're new to these things usually. So it really does mean abandoning your grand plans temporarily, right? Consider doing something so minuscule that it would just slightly be better than doing nothing at all. So it's this sort of like, I talk with my clients about being wildly unambitious as you start off on these things, because you're going to be increasing your success over time. So right now you can ask yourself, how can you strip the thing that you want to do or that you've been meaning to do into something so easy you could do it every day with barely a thought, right? So what is like one small step that you could take towards reskilling or any of the things that you might be on your list? So it could be like, if you want to eat more healthfully, it could be like one piece of lettuce on your sandwich. It doesn't have to be like an entire salad, or going for a 1-minute walk outside. And then trusting you're going to get to do better, right? This better than nothing behavior isn't your ultimate goal, of course. But for now, ask yourself, what could you do that would just get you started in this, that would be ridiculously easy, that you can do even when nothing is going as planned. And ultimately, of course, you are going to want to do more. And this is just your fallback, right? So we humans are often too tired and too distracted and too stressed to do the things that we intend to do, and to be the people that we want to be. And on those days, these little wildly unambitious behaviors really are better than nothing, right? They keep us moving in the right direction towards a goal. So, that single leaf of romaine lettuce has an entire gram of fiber, right? Like, it's better than no grams of fiber on this. Or like getting outside for a minute, gets your body actually moving. You're not just sitting in your seat. So the goal with any change that we want to make in our lives is really, it's consistency and it's repetition. If you can just get yourself moving in the right direction, you're going to have days where you have a lot of motivation and you're going to go for an entire 20-minute run. Yeah, like I never really got past that. A lot of you will actually go for, a lot longer than that. But so you can let yourself be mediocre at whatever it is you're doing. That is actually quite skillful when it comes to habit formation. But you need to be mediocre every day. You don't get to just be like mediocre once a month or like tomorrow. You just have to be mediocre every single day, because it's really that consistency that we're looking for. We're really trying to establish that neural pathway in our brain for the new habit, which makes it much more likely that we're going to succeed down the line, because it's going to lower that effort bar. Habits are really easy. We do them without a thought, right? Once you've established that neural pathway in your brain, the effort level is going to go down, and therefore the motivation level is going to go down, and you're going to be able to do a lot more without even thinking about it.
So starting small makes it more likely that we're going to succeed, right? So how do we know when we've hit that sweet spot that now I can bite off a little bit more? It's starting to be like a habit.
Yeah. So when do you get to do something bigger? Really is when there's no resistance, right? So remember, what we're trying to do is keep our effort and our motivation matched. And so it will only work for us if there is no resistance, right? If there's no sense that it's difficult, or that it's just taking a ton of effort for us, that, because if it takes a lot of effort and we don't have the motivation to match it, we will stop, and we tend to never go back, right? Like, that's where it just starts to fall apart. So only if there's no resistance will it work for us to allow ourselves to then just go ahead and do more than, whatever we've decided is better than nothing. But again, don't do more if you feel any form of resistance. I've gotten myself into zillions of habits using this method, and I will tell you, it is so hard. It is so hard to just only do the easy thing, right? Because the achiever in me wants to, like, I'm already here sitting and meditating, but like my mind is wandering and I really just want to check my phone. I just want to get up right now. You have to let yourself get up, right? Because otherwise you have ruined the ease of the whole thing. The next time you go to meditate, I'm pointing towards my meditation chair, and you guys can't see it, I realize, that you go to sit in that chair, and it's going to be like a struggle for you, and so you've upped the effort, right? And you just want to keep that better than nothing really, really low.
So in thinking about that, and maybe this is taboo to ask, but like, when should I just give up? And so let me give an example from my own life.
Okay.
So I have 3 little kids at home, 7, 6, and 3. And many mornings it's a little bit chaotic when we're trying to get out the house. So I've told myself, you know what? I don't like rushing, and I really don't like rushing to get out of the house. So I'm just going to get up earlier, so I give myself more time and some cushion, and it can be more relaxed. And so I've actually sort of started trying to start small by saying, I'm going to wake up 15 minutes earlier. This would have a tremendous impact on my life. And I can do it for a couple of days and then I fall off and then I'm doing it again. At what point should I just be like, you know what? I'm not built to wake up 15 minutes earlier. I can't run more than 1 minute or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's such a good question, and I talk about this all the time, and I've never actually gotten a question, so I'm going to hand it to you, Eugene, for this. I think that so my first answer is don't give up. Make your better than nothing easier. You have to go for something that is wildly unambitious, and so I would say wake up 2 minutes earlier, right? Like, really, it's like the things that your brain perceives as no effort, like no difference, nothing, like wherever that mark is, there's like no difference, there's no change, there's no point, right? Like you're not going to resist that. Like, can you wake up 2 minutes earlier? Yes, you can. You can do it. Now, a lot of times there are things that we need to correct for on the other end, and that's really important to address too. So if you can't run more than 1 minute after a while, why not? We need to figure out what the obstacle is. Some things just take us a really, really long time. And so the running feels painful for 1 minute. If that feels painful, like really hard and effortful, that's not wildly unambitious. Walk for 1 minute, right? Like you really have to bring the effort level to zero. So for you, Eugene, if I might coach you a little bit, I would say the real issue is going to bed earlier, right? So that it's less painful to wake up earlier. So to work on the going to bed part so that you feel better rested instead of the getting up earlier, because then you're making the getting up earlier piece of things easier over the long run. So go to bed 5 minutes early. Surely you can do that, right? Or 15, maybe 15, for a week or so, and see how you're starting to feel in the morning. And then maybe you need to go to bed 30 minutes, but it's still, you're only backing it up by 5 or 10 or 15 minutes every night.
Well, so now I'm not going to be able to binge watch my TV shows if I go to bed earlier. No. How are you going to help me with that, Dr. Carter?
That is a bigger problem. I am not as smart as the shows that start all automatically. Like you have to.
Right.
In my house, it goes like this: turn it off, hurry, turn it off. Nobody hits the remote soon enough. There we are. The next.
So then, as we're thinking about these small steps, is it good to sort of check in with ourselves and say, hey, here's a small step, but my real goal is, I'm doing 1 minute, but my goal is to get to 20 within 6 months? Or how do you, because as you said, you're talking to a bunch of overachievers.
Yeah.
Telling somebody, like, I can't imagine telling Angela or Ying or Lisa, just go small. It's all good. When I set your goals at the next Achieve Together conversation, I'm going to make it teeny tiny. They'll be mad at me. So how do you manage the small?
Okay. Yes. So great question. I think that the way to think of it is, say you want to be able to run for 20 minutes at the end of 4 months or 6 months or whatever it is, right? Like that's the goal. And then that's fine. You set the big goal and you give yourself enough time to like get into reasonable shape to do that. And you know that you're going to have to get into a habit to do this. Like you're going to have to do it a certain number of weeks in order to be able to reach that goal. And the difference in this approach is that most of us, I'll speak for myself, like, so then you just start running, right? Like the 20 minutes and you run the 20 minutes really well, 5 days a week for 2 weeks in a row until like your hip hurts so much and you don't want to do it anymore. That's my hip hurts so much or whatever, right? Like, and so you have a spectacular week or two and then nothing, right? So the difference is that with this approach, when you hit the 4 month mark, if you start big, the odds are that you will not be doing it at the 4 month mark, right? But if you start small and build towards that with a totally new behavior, that you will, it's just a more effective way to do it. It doesn't feel good at first to incorporate a new behavior in a small way. So at work, for example, I had my team taking micro breaks, taking 5 or 10 minute breaks for every hour that they're on Zoom, right? Like actually stepping away. And it seems like it should be wildly unambitious, like take a break. This should not be hard for people to do, but it is actually really hard to step away from Slack and email when you have a few minutes in between meetings. And so it was like, okay, just do it one time. You don't have to do it every hour, but by the end of the quarter, I want everybody doing it every hour. Like I'd like to see that much break, and you will see how your performance really improves when you're able, and how you feel and all of those things. But for right now, just pick one meeting, right? That you're going to start 5 minutes later, end 5 minutes early, or whatever it is, or pick one time slot a day to take a micro break and see how that goes. And then when that's going well, take 2, and then you just build slowly over time.
Right. So a lot of us tend to make pacts with people, in addition to I promise myself I'm going to get up to bed 15 minutes earlier. My conversation is typically, and I'm saying this to my wife, we need to get up 15 minutes earlier. We promise ourselves. So how does that fit in, sort of having somebody else there to kind of hold you accountable? And how does that work toward making you achieve your goals?
Yeah, it really helps, because when I say that effort needs to match motivation, people can be a little bit of external motivation for us. There's a lot of different ways that this can work. I actually I've solved for the motivation piece of things with the running, because I will go to Orange Theory and they charge me $12 if I don't show up, right? And so that's a way of, that's actually like a hard commitment, right? But just our spouses and the people around us, or we can have an accountability buddy. We're basically outsourcing some of the willpower, or outsourcing some of the motivation. And so because we've increased the motivation level, we can increase the effort that we put in a little bit. But we just have to be careful to see that we're actually like even when you're stressed, even when you're tired, even when you have a lot going on, that needs to be your mantra. Like, will your wife encouraging you still enable you to do it? If so, yes, then we just need to have a baseline.
Yeah, I can share that my wife and I, we don't encourage each other very much. We tend to more, you're tired, you can stay in bed a little. We forgive each other very easily. And so we're back right where it is that we started. So I need to pick a better motivation partner.
No, you need to go to bed earlier, and she will encourage you to do that because she cares about you. And so she's encouraging you to get rest, because that feels more important.
Oh, she
right?
stays up.
So she'll encourage you to get rest earlier.
I wish that she stays up later than I do. I'm trying to get her to go to bed. Listen, I don't want to talk too much about my private life here. I am very happily married, in case anybody's wondering. We are not arguing about bedtimes and waking up in the morning.
Yeah.
In any event, can you share with us any examples of a goal that you saw somebody set, like a huge goal that started out really small, to give us a sense of what it could really look like? Because some people may still be skeptical, like, yeah, you're a doctor. Of course, the 1 minute, 20 minutes worked for you. You're a professional. You understand how the brain works better than I do. But I want to know, like, is there an example of a regular person who did something really that might seem teeny tiny, and now they're leaping over tall buildings in a single bound?
Yes. I mean, I've been a coach for 20 years. And so I've seen this again and again. And what I think is most important for me to share, and then we should sort of workshop this with something that, like, an action that people might have taken, want to take out of this conference, I think. But like, I have failed at this many, many more times than I would like to admit. And I think that it's that struggle which has helped me, like, really believe the science around starting small with these kinds of things. And I think that, like, okay, so this is my own life, but I have also talked many clients, probably a half a dozen, through this particular goal. Writing a book, right? That's not exactly leaping tall buildings, but it's a really big goal. And for a first book, it can feel really intimidating. But the better than nothing habit is the sort of, like, Annie Lamott, put your butt in the seat and write one sentence a day. So for me, it was write 250 words. It's about a paragraph a day, no matter what, even if you're on an airplane, even or per weekday. And it didn't work on the weekends doing this. And you get a pretty good sized book in 6 months if you do that. And it's just one paragraph. So this does work with a lot of different types of goals, as well as helping you get into the habit. You get into a writing habit that your life feels really differently when that book is finished.
I can imagine, and then you can sell it and make a little bit of extra money too.
Yes, I'm sure there are plenty of people watching that have that ability.
All right, well, so we're sort of winding down our time, and I wanted to give you the opportunity, I mean, you've had the opportunity, but to give you the opportunity to not answer my questions, but tell us, what sort of your parting thoughts are for us, something that, you want us to take away from this conversation when we're thinking about it later on.
Yeah, I want all of you to remind yourselves when you're thinking about this later and thinking that it probably won't work for you, or you just don't want to do it that way because it's just so much more fun to be ambitious out the front, or when Eugene, you're looking at your neighbors and you're assuming that they're still running and that they're so much better than you at all of this, that to paraphrase the Dalai Lama, the goal is not to be better than other people, but to be better than our previous selves, and to really think about you're fine the way you are. And we as humans are built to grow, right? And so the only goal is how will you grow, right? What is growth for you as a person? And if you don't know how you want to grow, or you're not sure what your next step is, that's a pretty significant obstacle, that not knowing, that is very common. And so finding a coach to help you see why you can't run more than 1 minute, or what your purpose might be, or what the best way for you to grow is. Other people can be enormously helpful in helping us see the things that we can't see, and it turns out that to grow as people, we need only to do something so minuscule now, something that is just a little tiny bit better than doing nothing at all. And when we abandon our grand plans and our great ambitions in favor of taking just that first step, we shift, right? We grow into somebody who is more closely fulfilling their potential, right? I think it's one of the great paradoxes in life, that it's really only in that tiny shift, in that first step, that our grand plans and those great ambitions are truly born. They truly first see the light of day, is in that first step.
Well, thank you very much, Christine. I love that quote. Our goal is to just be better than our previous selves. We're not comparing ourselves to anybody else. That's pretty good. I think you're going to hear some people saying that after this conference. And so here's what
I didn't say that. That was the Dalai Lama.
That was the Dalai Lama.
Yeah.
We'll make it clear that you did not steal that from the Dalai Lama. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask everybody who's on the call, in the next 2 minutes, write something down that you would like to do. You can keep it to yourself, hold yourself accountable, but I would encourage you to perhaps share it with somebody else, that motivation partner, or at a minimum, put something down on your calendar, some sort of reminder that will say, on June 9th, 2022, you said you were going to start doing blank, so that you have that check to see, did I start? Right? Did I start waking up 2 minutes earlier? Did I start running 1 minute, to and from the corner? Whatever it is that you want to do, write it down, give yourself a partner or a reminder, something, so that you can hold yourself accountable. And then we'll invite Christine to come back next year and check in on everybody.
Well, can I add something to that? Do we have time
Sure.
for me to just add one thing to that? So write down the thing that you want to do, and then break it in half or make it wildly unambitious. What's the better than nothing something? So there's the end goal next year at this time. Where would you really like to be? And what's the better than nothing habit? Like what and how can you tolerate being bad at it for a little while you get into it? Then how can you be really specific? So instead of like taking more breaks, I saw somebody wrote, yes, taking more breaks. Absolutely. What's the better than nothing one? My better than nothing break, by the way, is we have chickens here, and I like leave my computer, I walk outside, I check to see if they've laid any eggs, and I walk back in, right? It doesn't even take 5 minutes half the time. And it's a total mindset shifter. So it truly is better than nothing.
This has been wonderful. You've given us lots of great ideas of how we can be our best version of ourselves and fulfill our potential by being bad. So thank you again, Dr. Carter, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Ying, what am I just supposed to now give my closing remarks? Oh, all right. Well, let me change my mindset, going from conversation to profound and deep remarks here, everybody. So I don't have a whole lot to say in terms of our closing remarks. So, again, thank you to Dr. Carter. We've had lots of speakers today that you've had the opportunity to engage with. I hope all of you have found some things that were new, things that you've learned that you can take with you back to your locations and employ in your everyday lives and your work lives, or even better, both. Before I get into the rest of my closing remarks, I want to thank the group of people who put this together. The Now Conference Committee, you all have been working on this for 9 months. So this is not a one-person show, a two-person show. We don't hire some group of people to come in here and give them $10,000 and say, make it happen. This is your colleagues who are working together because they care not only about themselves, but they care about you because they want to see everybody succeed. And without their valuable time and contributions, we wouldn't be able to make this conference happen every year like we do. This year, I want to give a special shout out to UC Merced Staff Assembly for being our first ever scholarship partner. They sponsored 50 people from UC Merced to attend. Thank you very much. Our true goal for this conference, now that we really know what we're doing, now we've known what we're doing for a while, but now that we've been trying this hybrid format and seeing how more people can be included, is, I've sort of challenged the team. I'm like, should we just make this the conference for the system and have people from all locations come and be able to participate? And I think that's what we really want to do. We have a good thing going here. The feedback we get is incredible. It helps us to refine the program every year and make it even stronger and more useful for all of you. And so it's something that we're going to keep having as a goal, and we're going to have more partners. We have 200 people from different locations who joined us this year, and that's a record for us, from 10 different locations. So we have people from A&R, Davis, Irvine, LA, Riverside, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, San Diego, San Francisco, and OP. So this already somewhat is the de facto system-wide conference for the next opportunity at work. But we want to get some of that UCOP sponsorship money to really blow it up. As anybody from UCOP is there, make sure you go back and relay that message for me. So again, thank you to our sponsors, to the participants, to our committee for making this happen. Remember, it really is about doing the small steps. We had a lot of chance to talk, and I pushed back. It is small steps, and I really love that idea about it's about making yourself better than you were before. Not about look at that person next to me or look at that person over there. That might provide you some motivation. That's up to you to decide. But it really is, do you feel that you're better than you were before, right? You're measuring yourself against yourself. And all you can ask of yourself is to try to do better than you did the day before, right? That's just sort of how do you go about living life? You're trying to do better than you did the day before. So thank you to all of you attendees who, you deserve a thank you too, because you took the time to invest in yourself and spend this day away from work. I know how hard it is to spend a day away from work, because what's waiting for you? Did somebody go through your email inbox for you today while you were here at the conference and said, don't worry, I got you? Probably didn't happen. So but you've taken the time because you realize the importance of investing in yourself. We believe it's important for you to invest in yourself. And thank you also to your managers for investing in you. So I think it's important also that when you go back, you talk to your manager and say, I had an excellent experience. Here's what I learned. Thank you for making that possible. I look forward to additional opportunities in the future when you support my professional development. Now that we have this understanding, I'm going to come to you again, and there's going to be another opportunity that's going to make me a more valuable contributor to the team. Don't be shy about saying that. Managers, and I speak for all managers when I say this, managers love people who take ownership of their own development, right? You've just now made it easier for your boss to help develop you. Take ownership, give your boss your plan, let them know what it is that you want to do and how they can support you. And that's what we're all trying to do. We all want to see people improve and get better. And so at the end of the day, a couple more thoughts. So University of California, top to bottom, by far the best educational institution in the world. We all know that. That's why we work here. And it's in large thanks to you, our staff. You've been hearing before the pandemic, during the pandemic, thank you, staff. Thank you, staff. We really appreciate it. And thank you for making this work. All of that is true. And I could repeat all of those things that you've heard a million times. You know, each and every one of you makes a difference. All of that's true. You know, thank you for your commitment to the university. But I want you to understand that here at UC Berkeley, and for all the people putting this conference on, we also owe you. We owe you for the commitment that you've shown to the university of your time and setting aside your private life to make everything happen. We owe you. And part of that is by us supporting you in the development of your career. That is, I think, the best. Yes, we love to lavish you with all kinds of money and free parking. But I think the best thing that we can do really to show our commitment to you is by investing in your development and your career so that you can grow here or wherever it is you may find that your career takes you. That's the most important thing that we can do for you. And I want us, and I want you to go to your campuses and hold us accountable for making sure that we do invest in you in ways that will help you to be successful. So with that, I want to invite everybody today to come back to next year's event. Our co-chairs are now going to share a little bit about what's already being planned for next year. That's right. What is already being planned for next year. This is not an easy lift. Co-chairs, please take over. Let me stop talking.
Thank you so much, Eugene and Dr. Christine Carter. Wow, what an exciting way to wrap up the day and continue the learning. And I just love the concept of starting small and being willing to be bad at something. And it's just so freeing to give ourselves permission to be beginners in a sense and to support others to do the same. And I think it's a great growth mindset to support upskilling, reskilling, and a way to thrive. So thank you for these afternoon remarks. And we are nearing the close of the 2022 NOW Conference for Staff Career Development.
And on behalf of the entire NOW 2022 Planning Committee, we thank you for spending today with us. We hope you had a wonderful day of discovery and enlightenment, and that you're leaving here inspired to upskill, reskill, and thrive in your career here at UC. Please remember, this isn't a one and done experience for us. Visit us at grow.berkeley.edu anytime to learn about all the ongoing growth and development opportunities that we have for our staff at UC Berkeley. And for those of you who are joining us from other campuses, please visit your campus learning and development partners and the UC Learning Center for additional opportunities.
And in the next month or so, we will be uploading much of today's great content to our NOW website. So you will be able to experience the concurrent sessions that you missed and share all of today's great learning with your colleagues and reinforce your learning by watching again. And please remember to fill out your program evaluation so that we can continue to learn and grow and make next year's conference even better. We really appreciate your feedback. And the evaluations for the concurrent sessions are linked at the bottom of each session description on the live website. And there's an overall event evaluation on the right side margin of this live conference website. Also, please click on the links on the right side of the conference website to access your 2 conference e-gifts. You can download the ebook Emergent Strategy by Adrienne Marie Brown, a generous gift provided by the UC Berkeley Division of Student Affairs, and the 43 Icebreakers infographic, compliments of this year's NOW Planning Committee.
Thank you again to our awesome conference planning committee, our amazing presenters, coaches, recruiters, moderators, activity break leaders, and our wonderful tech support team from ASUC Event Services, and our generous sponsors, including UC Berkeley People and Culture, BetterUp, UC Berkeley Division of Student Affairs, Berkeley English Department, and UC Merced Staff Assembly. While we are wrapping up with these closing remarks, we want you to know that we do have a post-conference event, and we invite you to continue to connect with your colleagues at the virtual happy hour from 4:15 to 5. This will be a facilitated networking activity where you'll be given some question prompts and organized into smaller discussion rooms to engage and connect with other conference attendees. And to those who are having to have already signed up for Friday's post-conference coaching activities, we look forward to seeing you there.
And we really hope you'll apply your learning and connections from your conference experience today and this week to support yourselves to upskill, reskill, and thrive.
Lisa, I could not agree more. And looking ahead to next year, we want you all to know that we are already planning the 2023 Now Conference, which will be held on Thursday, June 8th, in person at the Oakland Marriott City Center in downtown Oakland. So save the date, spread the word, and more details will follow in the coming month. Thank you.
Thanks, Ying. Thank you all, and see you there.